In this school system, I was always told that we had a 5-year plan. We're coming up on 2016 real quick. And I have seen people down there, and I have been one of them down there trying to fight for this school system, but I haven't seen any.
Nobody in this room, bar none, have fought for funds for the Enterprise City School System like I have. You had a former superintendent to verify that at 2 meetings ago. I've been before the city council. I've asked and been successful for getting funds, getting the tax rate changed over a period of years. So I hate to repeat what I said, I don't take a back seat to anybody about asking and acquiring funds for this school system.
Talking about the interim superintendent, when did the law firm come into play?
I handle governmental affairs for Hand Air Law Firm. And we've done a lot of things through the years in the education arena. Typically, I'm paid by them through the law firm. Since it's an interim arrangement, and I knew I was only going to be here a limited amount of time, couldn't have been here much longer. That was the most logical way for me to continue to get paid.
If I were a lawyer in this town, I would be raising holy heck that we had to go out of town to get lawyers when we got one on every corner.
Well, let me say something, Barry. I know a lot of the lawyers in this town. They're friends of mine, a lot of them. I've done various businesses with them. My knowledge of what had gone on basically was out of the newspaper, out of the press, and out of articles. I had no interest in getting involved in a squabble locally based on which attorney was decided to be used. And I wasn't coming here in an environment when I didn't have the comfort of knowing I had absolute independence in that legal counsel.
When you signed on as interim superintendent, did you have a up-to-date and current school administration and supervision certificate from the state of Alabama?
No, I did not. Because I hadn't been in education in several years. Let me, before I even got to the point, Perry, before I even got to the point of discussing in a serious way whether I would even entertain that, it took me a while to even reach that point. You don't think I'm so stupid that I didn't pick up the phone and call the state superintendent of education in his office and say, if I do this, what's going to be your position? Because I'm not even going to consider it unless you're in a position to say, I'm okay.
This board would never have asked, and we had to ask Mr. Baker to take this job. I had a personal conversation with Dr. Tommy Weiss. He assured me that he supported this move. His exact words to me were, you can go back and tell your board that I support this move 100%. This fellow's done more for the State Department of Education than you can imagine.
I think one of the things that all of us were upset about was that it has been a long-standing procedure in this school system that the longest-serving member would serve as president during his or her last year. Mr. Brown, at the school board meeting, when the officers were nominated and selected, you nominated Mr. Carter as president. Your nomination was approved. You bypassed Mrs. Stewart. You just jumped over. Mr. Brown, how would you feel if you were in that situation and someone bypassed you?
Because I addressed that, I think, a couple of meetings before to Mrs. Carter, and I'm not going to keep going back and forth with this, whether you like my nomination or not. I made it. I still stick with it and stick by it. The other thing is, you quoted the policy manual. I have a policy manual. I stated here on the last meeting, the meeting before that, I know what the policy manual is. I read it. I've come out of an environment where I read things and see what the rules are. The policy manual says each May that the board get together and elect its president. President Mark Jipson, if he would have done his job, he would have made a motion the last meeting before he left.
I realize it doesn't say it, but that was a long-standing tradition.
Up to this point, I have listened to personal attacks. Well, let me tell you all something about me. I graduated from Coffeyville High School in 1966. I say it briefly that it was, at the time, it was segregated school. I don't have any problem with that. I'm not somebody that showed up here off the street. After I finished high school, I got drafted in the United States Army. 1 year after that, after training, I was in South Vietnam fighting for America. 2 years later, I came back and I got married to the wife I've been married to for 43 years. And then I was back to Vietnam, not voluntarily. I was sent. I gave my life 2 tours in Vietnam. I come back. I stayed put. I stayed and stayed a United States Army soldier. I retired as a command sergeant major with 16 years of service. So I'm not a dummy. I'm not somebody come off the streets and just showed up here. After I did that, I come back home. I sold real estate to Central in Bellicom's office. Sold real estate. I was back to school at night. Because when I retired, I only had 2 years of college. Okay? You might not want to hear this, but I'm going to tell it tonight. 2 years of college. I went back. Sold real estate in the daytime, and I was back to college at night, completing my degree. When I completed my degree, I went to work for the state of Alabama as a probation roll officer. I did that for 8 years, then I resigned. And here I am. I'm back home.
Mr. Brown, I think we all admire what you did.
Thank you.
I just hope that we're going to admire what you do.
Yes, and
Our last meeting, Mr. Brown made a few comments about me, how he respected me and admired the job I had done. But since then and now, evidently, he has found all my character flaws, which are many. Difference in a lot of people is I have addressed most of my flaws when they've taken place on my own 2 feet, good or bad. I can only tell you for 5 years, and about 3 months before I started, I came to every single meeting. I went to every course. I don't miss what some of these guys are doing. I echo some comments that were made earlier tonight about the positions Mr. Barr has taken since he's gotten on. It is good. I would like to agree with Ross on a couple of things. Number one, I do agree fighting is counterproductive. You're getting up. I do applaud your 3 or 4 things that you need to consider when it comes to the money. And you know, it all seems to, whether we want to admit it or not, it comes down to money. But I would like to know who's going to decide on points like if we're academically where we're supposed to be. Because I know I wasn't qualified with my little sew shop business, and I don't know what real estate qualifies you to know if we're academically qualified when we got fine people that we heard from this night. I'd have to ask them. So I have concerns about that. And I want to make an offer tonight while everybody's here. I did it before, and our mayor had deaf ears. If we're so concerned, if we're financially and economically, which I agree with, why can't this board go to our city leaders and ask to amend the agreement to read that if the revenue streams are large enough to pay for the bond for the $30 million, the school system will be waived for that year of the $550. If they're insufficient, the school system will pay up to and not to exceed the $550 that was agreed upon. I appreciate you for staying.